teacher. The more questions I asked, the more afraid I started to become. I was in a totally new territory and was feeling very overwhelmed because I really didn't know what I had gotten myself into. And to add on to that, I only received 2 weeks of training before I had to start teaching live classes. I also noticed I was spending twice as much time planning my lessons as I had done in the brick and mortar setting. I had students who were not using their microphones. They were not turning on their cameras in my live class connects. I wondered, how am I supposed to teach my students if I can't see them or hear them? I was really feeling fearful because it all just seemed too much to handle. I thought to myself, I have to change my thinking for me to overcome my fears. I started asking different questions. How can I stop feeling afraid and start feeling confident again? What are the basic applications or tools do I need to know in order to do my job effectively? I started to make a list and I started to make time every day to explore and access additional trainings in the tools and systems that I needed to know. I looked for existing curriculum online that I could use to help decrease my planning time. I started thinking of ways I could get my students to do more of the work and the thinking. I looked for EdTech tools that I could use to help increase my student engagement in my classes and get my students to turn on their microphones and to turn on their cameras. I started doing Google searches on effective online teaching practices, and I stopped feeling unsure of myself and started solving my own problem. My first lesson learned. Fearless educators ask questions that build confidence versus questions that create fear. I went back to being a learner. All learners ask questions. Learners are curious about things and how they work and how to make themselves better. I want you to take 30 seconds and think of 2 questions that will help you adapt faster to change. 2 questions that will help you adapt faster to change. As you think about them, why don't you write them down too? It's nothing like writing something down. Helps you to remember it. Did you think of questions like, what do I need to know to help me adapt faster to this change? COVID-19 changes. What strategies can I use to help me adjust to this new teaching method? What can I give up so that I can increase the time I dedicate to learning a new skill? These types of questions build confidence and help you focus on change as a process versus a final destination. I remember a time when I was a part of a team building activity that made me feel very uncomfortable. It was a group of my colleagues and we were all instructed to put on some blindfolds, and we were put in a circle with a rope to guide us around the circle. Our only task was to go around the circle and that a person would be ready to hear our question. That was the only guidance we were given. Every time we would go in the circle, we would come to the facilitator. She just asked me the question.